Okay. You ready, Terrence?
Hey.
Hey. Hold on.
There's
Go ahead, babe. Let's see. Are we both in? You got us? Or that's weird. It's
I
like
do. I see both of you guys.
Okay.
I see both of you guys. Welcome, everybody. I'm gonna let them get settled. Let the beautiful couple get settled. Welcome to Let's Get Crystal Clear. This is our social distancing edition. We're talking about love after Ready to Love. What happens when you find love after the hit reality series? And of course, I have the beautiful Courtney Larisa and her husband Vincent. Welcome, you guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
I'm
thank
good.
you for having us.
Thank you for doing this. First of all, how are you guys managing right now? Have you guys been quarantined together or stuck together the entire time?
Oh yeah, the entire time.
Well, that's a good thing. That you guys actually, to be able to be married and be newlyweds during this time, that's got to be really cool.
Right. It is. It's.
Courtney, what do you think? Because I know a lot of people are, I've been talking in relationship forums and threads about people that are trying to date during this time. And to me, it seems like a really uncomfortable time to meet a new person, but to have a new husband that you want to spend time with anyway, and to be able to have time off from work that is mandated. That seems to be like a really cool situation if you look at it that way.
Well, for me, the biggest adjustment is not being able to travel the way I want. I always said I wish I could keep the flight perks without having to work. And now I don't have to work, and I have the flight perks, but now there's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. Yeah. But it's making us, I guess, focus on the things that matter most, right?
This is true. This is true. Yeah. I'm excited because, I picked the right time to get a husband, right?
You did, girl. And that's why I'm so excited about tonight's conversation, because maybe you can help the rest of us. Give the rest of us some tips. I had the pleasure of talking to you right after the series, after the first season of Ready to Love. And that the show has done really, really well. And I think the reason the show has done so well, besides the fact that Will Packer and Oprah Winfrey are involved and are both, geniuses at what they do, is the fact that everybody wants to find real love. Like in the midst of people trying to be famous and be poppin' and all that, I think there is a basic human need for people to really find a real connection. And so I'm going to start by asking you, Courtney, is that why you initially went on the show?
I did. You guys know I'm the flight attendant from the show. That's what everyone refers to me as, the flight attendant from the show. So for me, I had a series of unsuccessful long distance relationships. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I moved to Atlanta. You hear all the stories about dating in Atlanta before you get there. And then it just takes a couple to be like, oh, so they were true stories. Okay. So I was dating gentlemen in other states, and that wasn't working at all. I mean, it was a hot mess. Okay. So I really, truly, genuinely wanted to meet someone in the city of Atlanta, where I resided, where I lived, where I felt like I could actually build something, and it would still be like comprehensive with my life. Because I have to be close to Atlanta. I'm based there. I didn't want to commute in, and just wanted somebody that was happy with living in Atlanta that I could date.
Right. Well, I have heard that it's difficult for flight attendants because your schedule is difficult for some people to deal with. Let me ask you, Vincent, what were you doing to find that special someone while Courtney was off doing a reality series? What was your dating life looking like at the time?
Well, my dating life was just pretty much sporadic. I mean, I wasn't really dating to be married, or my work was my wife. That's what I was married to. So I take that very serious. So, actually, when I met Courtney, it's not like I was looking. It just so happened, I didn't. I took my work very seriously. I mean, I worked like 12 to 14 hours a day.
Wow.
So meeting her was a surprise for me, because it's not like I was out there hunting or looking.
Okay, so you were not doing the proverbial hunt for a wife to find a good thing.
No, not at the time. I mean, but when I the attraction was there when I seen her.
Okay.
And then after having conversation with her, my wheels began to turn. So it's not like I was cut off to the idea of having a partner or a lifelong friend. It's just I put my priorities, my priorities were meant to be where I was supposed to be that day. And it was just work, just in general work. All right. So you have to sacrifice something. At that time, I didn't want to sacrifice the notion of making money over finding a date. That was my mind state at the time.
Right. Wow. It's interesting to me sometimes how men and women can be in a very different place, right? Because you said you were open to it, but just not pursuing that at the time. And she was actively trying to make space in her life for that. Okay, so before we go back into the show and Courtney's experiences there, how did you guys actually meet? Since you're not looking, you definitely are probably in a place where you had to be tired of voting after Ready to Love. You had to be tired of dating. So how did you guys meet?
So we met on the airplane. I met him at work.
Right.
And I'm telling you, Christal, the universe put us together because several times. I was not supposed to be at work that day.
Okay.
And I randomly picked up this trip because I was planning for a vacation the following month.
Okay.
So I was trying to get extra hours at work. I picked up the trip. I was the back galley, the economy class flight attendant when I picked up the trip.
Okay.
When I got on the trip, the flight leader said, "I'm tired. I need a break. Who wants to be flight leader? I'm done."
Wow.
So they pay you extra money to be flight leader, and I was there on the paper chase. So I said, I'll do it. So I did it, and we worked from Atlanta to Detroit, then Detroit to San Diego. He was on the Detroit to San Diego leg.
Okay.
And he was sitting in 3 Bravo, 3B. And he stared at me the entire flight. And it was so crazy because that whole month I had been just paper chasing, working my butt off, and I kept having guys on the plane staring at me, and I would smile and I'd be nice and approachable, and they would never approach me.
Right.
So me and the other flight attendant, we were sitting in the galley, and he's like, "Yo, that guy is checking you out. He hasn't stopped." I'm like, "I know, right?" And then so I'm like, "Sir, can I get you anything?" Giving him opportunity to say something. He never did. So finally, I had it up to here. I was like, you know what? I need answers. So I did the little flight attendant kneel down, and I said, "Sir, may I ask you a question?" And he says, "Sure." I said, "What does it mean when a man stares and stares and stares at a woman?"
Wow.
It doesn't say anything.
I did not expect you to say that. I did not expect the story to go this way.
It did. It went that way in front of everybody.
Everybody was just your seatmate. So then he says, "Well," and you can stop me because we have 2 different versions, but my version is the true version. He says, "Well, I was staring because I think you're very beautiful. I didn't say anything because you're at work and I didn't want to disrupt you.
Okay.
But since you're here, may I have your phone number?" And I said,
"That's the truth."
Okay. So I said, "Well, that depends." And he says, "On what?" I said, "Are you married?"
I was like,
"Are you married?" He says, "No." I said, "Do you have a girlfriend?" He says, "No." I said, "Is there a woman out there who thinks that she's your girlfriend?"
Thank you for saying that. She got the right list.
She did. She clarified all that.
That is so important. So important to make sure that nobody else out there is under the impression.
Right.
So he says no. So then I asked him, "Do you have kids? Are you open to having more children?" He says, "With the right woman, yes." Wow. I said, "Are you open to marriage?" He says, "With the right woman, yes."
You did all these questions right before.
Right. She sure did.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know what? That's what intrigued me. Her honesty.
Wow. Okay.
That is what got my attention.
Right.
Being so open like that.
Let me ask you, Vincent, because this is good. It's this very, I love the idea that you guys are a new couple and that this is fresh, because sometimes you talk to older couples and they can't quite remember exactly what was going on. So explain to the single women that are watching, Vincent, because a lot of times guys stare and they don't do anything. if Courtney had never said anything, what was the purpose? What were you doing?
You know what? No. I had it set up. I had my business card out with my number on it. So I was prepping to say something to her.
Okay.
It's just, she was at work, and I'm like, okay, when do I talk with her? Do you do it now? You do it later? But I planned on saying something to her.
You were being respectful of her job.
Absolutely.
But you had it ready to go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it about her? What was it about her besides her physical beauty? Obviously, were you watching the way she conducted herself, or was it just she's just beautiful to you?
It was all of the above. She was beautiful, the way she conducted herself, very friendly, outgoing with everyone. Mm-hmm. But for me, she got my attention. She really did. I didn't stop staring at her.
You said the best thing about, he told me what made him really like me was my honesty.
Well, yeah, absolutely. When you stooped down and she asked me, you know.
It was like,
sorry about that.
She asked me, what does it mean when a man continues to stare at a woman and doesn't say anything? And when she did that, and then she asked a string of questions after that is what that pulled me in. And I said, okay, I want to know more about this woman. Okay. So she did. She gave me her number. We talked that night for, I don't know, about an hour or two.
Mm-hmm. That was a long time.
Yeah, we talked. And she said, I have to get off the telephone. So the attraction was there. I mean, I was open. I wanted to learn more. Thereafter, I think we got together about 3 or 4 days later.
No, months. I didn't see you until months after that.
Okay, see, I'm forgetting right now.
I didn't see you until like.
But we talked on the phone.
Months.
Yeah, 2.5 months.
We talked on the phone, yeah.
We talked about
and then we had I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. Uh-oh. What happened to the sound?
Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Uh-oh.
I need to put it on do not disturb. Yeah, Christal's mic is muted. It says our mic is on.
I can hear you. I guess you guys can't hear me, but I can hear you fine.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
She said, okay, we can't hear you.
That is so strange.
I can't hear you. What the heck happened? That was weird.
No. That's very strange. Let me turn my volume up.
You want us to hang up and do it again?
Can you guys still can't hear me?
Because I'll probably need to put the phone on do not disturb anyways.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm going to leave and come back, okay?
Okay, cool.
Let me put it on do not disturb too.
Okay, sorry guys. We're going to have them come right back. I apologize. We're all trying to make this thing work during social distancing. I hope that you guys can hear me. We're getting ready to talk about their early courtship, and I want to hear from both of them what made this courtship a courtship that would last, right? Because so many times people meet, there's initial attraction, and they start dating, and then it fizzles out. Somebody goes, somebody moves on, especially people that are very committed to their job. So I want to hear from both of them how did their dating experience lead to something else? So they're getting back on right now. So I hope you guys just be patient with us. We're going to get them back online and continue this conversation. I hope this inspires some people that are out there that are waiting on finding their true love, because I think that, love is something that we all have a hope for, and hopefully we're going to get them back. Can you guys hear now?
Yes, we are.
The camera's different.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So what I was saying is I'm hoping that you guys can share with us. We've heard the initial. I will say, Courtney, that's really dope. Like, I think very few women, every woman has been in the situation where a man is staring at them. Very few women would say something. I'm like, I don't know sometimes what to say. It's like if you smile, you think that's enough of an invitation. But the fact that you were very forward with that is cool, and it shows you were confident and you were serious about meeting somebody. What led you? Because for you to ask those questions, was that from the experience that you had on the show? That you kind of talk a little bit about that.
That was just from my overall experience with dating, period.
Right.
I know a lot of women that aren't flight attendants, but I'm going to say specifically flight attendants. We get a lot of married men or involved men that try to lie about their extent of engagements. And I just got tired. I didn't want anybody's husband. I didn't want anybody's boyfriend. I wanted my own man. I didn't want to be with somebody who did not want children, because that's something that I want. So if you don't want kids and I do, then there's no future there.
Right.
I didn't want anybody who was anti-marriage, because that's also something that I wanted. And so I was just to the point, I was just vetting them out quick. Yeah. Like, I get your number, and the first time you mess up, you're out of here.
Cut the BS, let's get right to it. This is what I want. But I like the fact that, Vincent, you said you actually appreciated that. I think sometimes women are afraid to stand up and say what they really want. So did that come off to you?
No, it's like I said, that was a turn on for me, because she was so straightforward. That's, I like to deal with people who are straightforward. We don't like to beat around the bush too much. I mean, I don't have time for a lot of BS. So when you tell about, how it is, to me, that's the indicator of a quality person.
Nice.
So, and again, she captured my attention. Prior to, I wasn't looking. After she said what she said, I'm like, okay, yeah. So
had you been married, Vincent, had you been married before, or were you just in a place where you just were focused on, was that because of, your past, that you were kind of just focused on work, or what's your past dating experience?
No, I was married before. I was. And then after that, I said my priority is my work. I was married to that. Did what I had to do. Wasn't disrupted too much, because my focal was, get out here. I was an empty nester. It was just me inside of a house. Didn't have anything to run home to but the world. So I traveled, worked, would come home for a few days. I may hit out the country for a couple of weeks, come back. So I didn't have any commitments, nothing that was holding me. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So, but for me, the most enjoyment was to have someone to share it with you. And I didn't just take anybody with me on the trip. I did a lot of trips by myself. So that meant a lot to me. I'm the type of person where if you don't mean much, I'm not, and don't take me wrong when I say this, but I'm not going to bring you around my family.
No, that's true.
If you meet my family, that means that I'm pretty much all in.
Right.
So my family hadn't met anyone. They knew I was traveling. It's just I did everything for Terrance at that time. And again, after meeting Courtney and talking with her, I was intrigued. I mean, I wanted to know more. The more I talked with her, the more I got with her, the more attraction. I mean, and then the synergy, and then it evolved.
And I kept on friend zoning him. I was like, I like him, but he lives in Michigan. I'm not moving to Michigan. Michigan's this ain't gonna work.
I didn't realize he lived in Michigan. So that was way further than your initial. So I was saying, when you guys clicked off, Courtney, what was it about this situation? Because so often, you meet someone, you may have initial physical attraction, right? And then it fizzles out. And I think especially as you get older as an adult, we all learn that, you're successful on your own, Vincent is successful on his own. You don't necessarily need to be in a relationship. You want one, but what was it about this interaction with him that made it stick, as opposed to some of the other things that might have started out great and then fizzled afterwards?
It was a combination of a lot of things. For, I would say, the first 8 months, I would not allow myself to, I really liked him, but I would not allow myself to get too close.
Right.
Because he moves very suspiciously. Let's just say the least. I mean, his movements are suspect. He would tell me things, and I would believe them, but then in the back of my mind, it's like, girl, you've been here before. You know that ain't the truth.
Give us a real talk. Like, give us an example of something that he would say that made you think that's too good to be true.
Just different things. I'll give you a perfect example. My friend was getting married in Chicago, and so he was in Michigan and I was in Atlanta. So I said, would you like to be my guest to my friend's wedding? So now, mind you, this entire summer that we've been dating or talking or whatever, he's telling me that he sold his house and, you know, I just sold my house. I sold everything in my house. I'm going to get an apartment until I figure out what I'm going to do. Okay. So I know this, okay? I know this. So we go to the wedding and there's this huge like storm in Chicago and I can't get out. So I turn to him and I say, well, I guess we have to go to Michigan. And his face goes, well, you don't want to just stay in Chicago for a couple days? We can just get a hotel and stay here. And I'm like,
that's suspect. Yeah.
And you know what? And the reason why I've done that is because I had nothing in my apartment, nothing, literally. And that's what I was being protective of. I'm like, okay, I don't have nothing here. But
do you know how much BS we women hear on a regular basis? I want to have a we hear so many lies and so many things like that something like that. But that's a good lesson to us ladies, that sometimes you can't take what you've heard before, what you've experienced before, and apply it to everybody else. But Vincent, I'm telling you, it's some BS happening now.
I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes when I told this story to my aunt and she made it seem like I was just crazy. And I'm like, no, you're just out of touch with what's going on out here.
I would have thought the same thing. I would have immediately thought.
She was actually on my side.
And that's what I told him. I said, no, I don't care what's in that apartment. We're going to Michigan.
Right.
And he would look so nervous the whole 3-hour drive. He looked like, what am I gonna do? And I'm on the passenger seat like,
here we going. We
get ready to find out. Because in my mind, I'm thinking he's married. He told me he was divorced when I met him. But with his job, he's always traveling. He's always around. He can kind of, I'm like, you're somebody's husband because you're a good man. And you're too good of a man to be out here single. And so he brings me to the apartment. We get here, and true enough, there was nothing but a bed and a set of nightstands. So it was the truth. But then my mind goes to, this is where he takes his side chicks.
It's because you've had PTSD from all the other experiences, right? Yes.
I'm like, this is his apartment for his side women. I said, so you know what? I said, Terrance, I am going to stay here with you for the next 3 days.
She did.
And see what pops up. See who comes through. See, can you stay the whole time? I'm
gonna watch his patterns, because if he tries to leave me here by myself at night, I know he ain't working at night. So it was just kind of like things like that would happen. And then I would get past it.
But I never left her at night.
No, he did.
I came home.
He came home every night. But then I put it out of my mind that okay, he's single. It's all good. But then other little things would happen that would bring me back.
But you know what? I love the fact that it sounds like you guys built trust, because trust doesn't just happen, especially when you've had experiences. So you gave yourselves a chance to actually build that trust. And I love the fact, Courtney, that you did not shy away from making sure that you were in a safe situation, because everybody deserves that. I love the fact that he really was who he said. It's good for us to see you, Terrance. Like, there are some good men out there. That's really encouraging.
I tell him every day, like, I must have been living right, because God surely blessed me with you. Like, I'm so serious. Like, you just don't know. Like,
yes, I do.
Like, you do know. You do. Because I wanted to be married and have a family and have children and do all of that, but then after you keep seeing people's husbands in your DM and in your face all the time, you're just kind of like, what? Is this what I want? I want somebody out here embarrassing me and carrying on like this. Like, no, I don't want that. So then I even started making it okay in my mind that I may very well be the rich hottie auntie that just flies in on Christmas bearing gifts.
I'm already there. I'm like, I'm just gonna be the very, very, successful, career-driven single woman, because you just get so tired of dealing with the same exact things. I want to ask you, and Terrance, I'm asking these questions because I have a lot of single women that watch the show. Ready to Love was one of the most popular And you know, the interviews that we did, women commented the most on those. And I believe that's because most women at their core, and maybe men as well, truly desire connection. But we're in a place as a culture where we really can't acknowledge that for one another, right? So I think this is great to hear stories that offer hope for other people, and that, you know, you can see that you can let down your guard with some guys, but you can also hold them to the fire. So Terrance, can you share with us, what was it, at what time did you know that you wanted to propose, that you wanted her to be your wife? What went through your head? What was that process like, realizing that this is the one that you wanted to try that with, that you wanted to go ahead and take a chance and sacrifice, you know, putting somebody in front of your work and everything else that you had in your life?
No, you know, the consistency of me coming to Atlanta, and, you know, her patterns didn't change. She was who she was from the beginning. She was very honest, sometimes brutally honest. But again, that's what attracted me. You know, you're not sugarcoating. Everybody sugarcoats some stuff, but for the most part, she was up front. You know, my turning point is when I actually was trying to get away and couldn't get away. And what I mean by that is that I'm like, okay, I'm chasing this woman. I'm doing all I can. And for some reason, she's friend zoning me. So I don't think I can do this no more. But for some reason, I couldn't get away. Didn't want to get away. And when I found myself not able to, unconsciously, doing it as if it was a habit or a natural reflex, I said to myself, I believe she's the one for you.
Wow.
Period. And so that when I seen that I couldn't do without, even when I tried to, I knew that, it was time for me to really reel it in.
To do that thing. What did you think when you learned about her being on, or did she tell you that up front, that she was on the reality show? Did you guys watch the show? What was your
she was very upfront. Remember, we started off as friends. And she said, early on, there's this show that I applied for, and it's something that I want to take a look at. And I told her, I said, hey, you know what? Go out there and.
So you guys knew each other before the show? Wow.
I met him. They started casting in March. I met him at the end of February.
Wow.
So when she told me about the show, I said, well, you know what? Go ahead. I said, you never know how it turns out. I said, we just met. So you go after whatever you're looking for. I said, I'm here. If you ever need me. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I said, whoever you meet, I said, they better bring their A game to the table.
Right.
I was confident. I wasn't really concerned about much because I would continue to be myself. And as long as I'm doing that, then I would never have any regrets. So no, during her journey, sometimes she shared with me, certain stories. I would give her my opinion. And that was pretty much it. When the show was over, I was really the last man standing, waiting for her to come home.
He was the man behind the scenes that nobody knew about. What did you think? Did you have any feedback on what you saw on the show, on the situation that she had with the other gentleman?
Most of the feedback, I have a couple of good friends that watched the show. Really looked at, a few of the girls as heroes when they were turning away from those guys that act like they didn't know what they wanted or what they wanted to do. So they were pretty much applauded.
Yeah. Nice.
There was probably one person on the show that some guys looked at as being, maybe this person is sincere, but other than that, most of the women got all the props.
Nice. Well, I know it's 7:30. We're gonna let you guys go, but I want you guys just to give want to know what you guys have coming up next. But can you share something encouraging? There's new seasons of Ready to Love happening. I think they're casting, or probably not now since we're on pandemic and everybody is in their own places. But there are so many people that want to find what you guys have. Can you give any words of encouragement or just suggestions for people that may be looking for love in all the wrong places?
Well, for me is, it's like I said, I didn't go out just hunting or looking. It pretty much exposed itself to me.
Yeah.
What I wanted in a woman, she had all that and then some. So I was open to dating, open to relationship. And that's why she asked those questions about, are you willing to be married? Are you willing to have children? And my answer was with the right woman.
Right.
So compatibility, when I seen that this woman would be compatible and understand, what I do, and me as a person, it all worked out. So my way of saying is that, sometimes when you don't go looking, you find. And when you do find, you appreciate and you cherish. You give 120%. Don't be inconsistent, because when you're inconsistent, it's not really you. So I would say until you're ready, just don't do it.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready, because when you're not ready, that's when you play games. And then, us as men, we can do more damage than what we realize to women. But our number one job, and I knew that, is you have to protect her mentally and spiritually. And that's what I was ready for.
Nice. Courtney?
My advice would be, number one, let go of your must-haves. Because I was so fixated on they can't live out of state because long distance relationships don't work. That's part of the reason it took us as long as it did to get where we are now, because I kept trying to friend zone him, even though I knew he was an incredible guy,
right?
Material. I just did not see the long distance working. But after being in this, long distance relationships do work when there are two people that are committed to making them work.
Right.
One.
Right.
So get out of your list. He's 6'5". He's this. Terrance is not 6'5", but he loves me like he's 10 feet tall.
Girl,
so I would say get out of your list. Don't be so fixated on if you meet somebody who has, every quality you want, but they live in a different city, or they're a few inches shorter than what you would like. I mean, don't be superficial over things like that. If it's worth having, it'll work.
Yeah.
I think the next thing I could tell women is get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Yes, we all have had our fair share of horrible experiences and past experiences, but it's okay to be cautious. But once you get over that caution, stop creating other scenarios in your mind. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally like, thank God, because he could have left me, and people don't realize what really brought us close is when I thank God I prayed for a man just like Terrance. I prayed to God, please send me a man who's X, Y, and Z, who does this, and that, loves me this way, and that I can fully love, and this and that. And so God said, okay, Courtney, here's Terrance, the man you prayed for. And I said, but he lives in Michigan.
Yeah.
He's not 6'5", but I do like him, but he lives in Michigan.
Right.
And then I was like, and I think he's married. I held on to that, and I never expressed to him that I thought that he was married. And it was like, I did everything in the world. I didn't want him to leave. I didn't want him to go away, because he was my friends with benefits, and I liked him, and but it just, I didn't know if there was a future there, because I didn't want to move to Michigan.
Right.
And God literally sat me down. God said, okay, girl, you got to be stupid, because I done gave you everything that you done prayed for and that you done asked for in a man, and you keep trying to friend zone him for these bizarre reasons. Let me take that Achilles tendon on down and sit you down for a minute.
Yeah.
And when my injury happened, that's when I was able to see everything with Terrance. I told you he was real suspicious to me. Like, he would never talk to his kids around me or his mom around me. And I'm thinking, like, why? Like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm right here. Right. But after my injury, when he came down to Atlanta and basically took care of me, he started opening up more and showing me things. And, hey, my mom says hi. And, my daughter says hi. And I'm like, oh.
He had to do it on his own terms.
Right.
He had to do it on his own terms.
He had to do it on his own terms. And because they weren't the terms that I felt like they should have been.
Yeah.
I was kind of self-sabotaging. And but when I saw and realized, like, okay, this is the real deal, that's when I just let all the guards down. I just let everything go. And I said, here, I'm going to sign, seal, delivered. I'm yours. Like, that's it. But I was my own worst enemy. And it's really, you know, I have a lot of women that say, what did you do to get to this point? And I wish I could tell you, girl, I did this. And but really, truly, Christal, like I nearly self-sabotage.
That's real.
The love that God gave me.
That's the best thing that I think you can share with women is just that real. Because, you know, you hear couples get together and there's this fantasy story, but telling people what you really did to almost mess it up is a lot, I think, a lot more beneficial to other women that could be in the same situation. I do want to ask Terrance one more question, because you mentioned friends with benefits. And I think a lot of times women, because we go through so much, we have so many things in our head. Did you have, and if you don't want to answer this, Terrance, it's too much. It's okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, because, you know, a single, nice looking man who travels, who's very self-sufficient. Did you have women that you had situations like a agreement with, but you didn't see as serious, and they may have wanted something more from you, but you just didn't see that with them? Did you have people like that in your life?
I did. I did. But I was straight up. I was honest about the relationship. I didn't lead you to believe one thing.
Right.
And I'll try to, sometimes you try and be real clear about that. And you got to cut off where you have to. But no, I was honest with it. I did have women in my life where, you know, you start off as friends and then things start to evolve and you look at it and say, you know what you want right now is not where I'm at.
Yeah.
And, you know, the women that were around me knew that. So actually, you know, and they were willing to say, you know, when you're ready, you let me know. But I know you're not ready for what I want. So
but
I
did it with them, right? Because when you met Courtney, then you were open to it.
It was different for me. You know, I don't know if it was the challenge. I don't know what it was, but it was different for me. You know, I lived in Michigan. She lived in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta every week. You know, so I made sure I spent time. Whenever she traveled out, we probably spend like a week or two away, if that. But then we have rendezvous points where she may be in Texas, I fly into Texas, or, you know, but I made it a point to get to really know this woman. And as you said, as she said, when she had her injury, I knew that, you know, me spending time with her and then having intimate moments with her, I couldn't abandon her, and I wouldn't abandon her. So then there was time for me to really bring everything that I had into her life. And then at that point, I knew that she would, you know, she would really know who I was. Right. And when I say that resources, I mean, you know, it's just, I was fortunate enough to be able to bring in my work and do things remotely, and actually spend time with her, because she couldn't do anything for about 6 or 7 weeks.
I remember when that happened. So tell it, did you move, Courtney? You moved to Michigan?
So I still have my house in Atlanta.
Okay.
We are here in Michigan now, and I think we've decided to purchase a home here. So we're either going to build or find a house. We're looking for a house now in Michigan. Okay. But we're going to still keep the place in Atlanta so we can escape the cold every now and then.
Yes, because it's very cold.
Yes. And I did transfer bases. I transferred from Atlanta to Detroit.
Nice. And you know what? I will say, as someone that was born in Toledo, right near Detroit.
Oh, right there.
In order for you to do that, you have to really love that person. I don't know what type of man would make me transfer to Detroit. he would have to be a hell of a man to make me transfer to Detroit. You hear me?
But you know what though? I told him too, and it's so crazy because as much as I was so anti moving to the cold and everything like that, I honestly told him home is wherever you are. Yeah. And I'm not even salty about being in Michigan.
Because it's love. I mean, love is powerful. And
I did want to touch on that though, when you were talking about his women before us or whatever. One of his, I don't know what you can call her, ex-girlfriend, women he was dating, whatever, she called and my heart went out to her because I have been her
in
the past.
Right.
And I didn't get upset at all. He told me about it. He's like, I hope you're not mad. I'm like, I'm not upset. I get it. But she called and she asked him, you're getting married?
Why?
Why her?
Yeah.
What was so special? What did she have that I didn't? And I want women out there to know it's not that she's something that you didn't. It's just
it wasn't for you.
It wasn't for you. That's it. Because I know there have been times that I've been her on the other end. Like, hey, I was a good woman to you. Why did you left me? But now I know why. Because I was supposed to be with this one here. And that's why it all makes sense now. I'm glad it didn't work out. Because if it would have worked out, I wouldn't be right here.
You would have missed your blessing. No, thank you for saying that, Courtney. Because that's a big thing too. I think women, we that's a real thing. Any woman has been in that situation of wondering what they could have done and being the best version of yourself. If that's not your man, that's just not your man. But I think we also need to, like Terrance said a minute ago, if he says this is not where I'm at, a lot of times we think we'll be able to be this amazing person and he'll change his mind or he'll be able to appreciate us. And that's not true. The person that's for you will see you that way.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, I did nothing spectacular. I did nothing special. I literally was just myself.
Yeah.
That's it. I looked at him and said, you sure you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Are you sure? He was like, yes. I was like, oh my gosh. It was just mind-boggling to me that somebody would want to spend the rest of their life with me. I mean, I knew how I felt about him, but to know that he felt the same way was like, okay.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Well, congratulations to you guys.
Thank
you so much for sharing. That's a real love story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Courtney, is there anything else you want to share with us? We're going to let you guys get back. We see you guys want to be together now.
One more thing too. Getting back to my whole psycho craziness of thinking he was married and this and that.
Right.
I finally told him a little bit after a year of dating. I told him why I was holding back with my feelings and my emotions so much. The reason I was playing hard to get or not really giving you everything is because I thought we were married.
Right.
So we had this conversation. He says, I told you I was divorced. And I said, well, I thought you were married. The next time he came to Atlanta, he comes into the room. I'm laying in the bed. He drops down a folder. He goes, here you go. It's my divorce papers. You just asked.
Now, Terrance, could you feel that she was holding back? Did you know that?
No, I did. Because remember I said that I felt like I was chasing and I wasn't, I mean, I got results, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I'm like, okay, this has been a little bit too hard, but I couldn't let go. I found myself always, cycling back. Not to say I would say I'm leaving and I'm coming back. But no, it's just, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? I don't have to do this. I was questioning my moves, what am I doing? What am I not doing? But when she said that, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So I did. I went to my safe, grabbed this envelope, threw it in my bag so I wouldn't forget it.
Yeah.
As soon as I got to Atlanta, I did. She was in the bed. I pulled out the folder and gave her the file. I said, everything you need is right here. So you should have just told me, and I would have given it to you a long time ago.
Well, the timing, she probably had to work all that through in her head to get that out by the time you
Girl, I was waiting on that. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Barbara. This is Shirley. I was going to tell it all. I was waiting.
That is hilarious. And it's so real. So real. That is so real. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for this. Courtney, give your social media. If people want to follow you or keep up with you and keep up with you guys' love story, where can they reach you at?
Oh yeah, I'm on Instagram all the time. I am Courtney Larisa, and we're not giving out Terrance's Instagram, but I am Courtney Larisa.
Don't give it out, girl. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys both so much for joining us. We wish you the best, and we celebrate you guys' success together. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Christal.
Thanks for having us, Christal.
Bye. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a great conversation. It always makes me happy when you hear real love stories, not the love stories that sound all, fake and phony, but the real stuff. I also want to thank you guys for tuning in for this Let's Get Crystal Clear edition during the pandemic. We're going to be doing these interviews live one-on-one. We went a little long today, but I thank you guys for staying with us. And of course, if you have comments, please put them in the comment section. And as always, subscribe. Again, we're going to be doing some cool giveaways with products and with books and things like that, but you have to be on our subscribe list. So subscribe to Enchanted PR Online. I've been your host, Christal Jordan. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time on Let's Get Crystal Clear.